welcome back to my channel, everyone. This is Bow and Arrow Tarot. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Cancer. But before we do that, I am giving away for Christmas this beautiful Spirit Animal Oracle deck from Colette Baron Reed. And all you have to do to be in the running for this is to be subscribed to my channel and to leave me a comment letting me know that you're interested. All right, guys? So it's my first Christmas gift I'm giving away. And there you have it. All right, guys, let's get right into it. We're going to pull out your romance angel messages. Now, my regulars know the drill. We pull out 3 romance messages for you. Then we pull out 3 animal spirits. And then I'll get into your actual forecast. Now, Cancer, you do have your 2020 outlook and your 2020 love outlook all linked in the description, along with the unboxing video for the Spirit Animal Oracle deck, so you can see all the cards if you haven't seen it before. All of that is in the description. All right, guys? So, Cancer. My lovely Cancers. You guys are such, you guys show up, you know? You're such a supportive part of my collective, and I just truly enjoy you guys. So, here we are, forgiving and learning. As you release and heal the past, you experience more love in your present moments. We have children. This showed up earlier for another reading. I believe it was Gemini. And then we have true love. This is the romance of a lifetime. All right, guys. We won't really know what those messages mean until we get into your spread. So let's go right into pulling out your animal spirits. Animal spirits are really lovely to consult because they can represent characteristics of people that we may be dealing with. They can represent energies becoming available to us. And they can also represent stages or paths in our lives that we're about to enter into. So, of course, if this resonates with you, great. But if it doesn't apply, let it fly. I always say that because, of course, not all readings can be for all people, and certainly this one won't be for every Cancer out there. But I do hope you get something out of it, all right? So, Cancer, your first animal spirit is the lion. Oh, I love it. Fire, fire, lovely, lovely, strong animal spirit. We have the lizard, also fire, Cancer. All right, and we have the whale, water energy. Oh, wow. All right, so these are very strong animal spirits, Cancer. So let's get right into it. The lion. Well, the lion is, of course, the king, right? He's the king of self-mastery, right? The lion is representative of patience, determination, regalness in a lot of ways. The one thing that the lion has his gaze fixed on is a path towards self-transformation, mastering the self, mastering himself, becoming spiritually and emotionally the best that he can be. He really doesn't take any time for anything that is not part of that objective. And so therefore the lion can come off aloof at times, unapproachable, inaccessible. But that's just kind of from the outside looking in when you look at someone who's resonating with this energy. For those of us who are able to look a little bit beneath the surface, you can see his purposefulness, right? His determination. And it has nothing to do with the lion believing that he's better than anyone else, but he's just simply so fixed on his own self-transformation. Indeed, he is a very strong character. He's a very wise character. He's a very warm character. Difficult to understand, but certainly an animal spirit that we all wish to emulate at some point in time in our lives, right? Now the lizard. Very strong fire energy also, but the lizard is associated with extrasensory perception. The lizard is so finely tuned. His instincts and his, and as I say, his perception is so highly tuned that oftentimes the lizard will see things happen before they've happened, hear things occur before they've occurred. So what happens though with the lizard is that it can become overstimulated, right? It can take in too much information and really become out of control, right? Out of focus. Lizard energy is at play when we're running too hot, right? When we are too nervous, when we are too sort of looking around every corner for the next sound or the next movement, right? Just as we see a lizard in the wild. If you're resonating with this energy, take some time to cool down, take some time to sort of ground your senses a little bit, you know, come away from the environment or the stimulus that is overworking your system, you know. Now, the whale. Strong water energy, very synonymous with Cancer energy. The whale is emotionally, the emotional sort of, how shall I put it? The whale can dive deep. Let's put it this way. Just in the wild, whales are one of these creatures that can go to the bottom of the ocean, to the very depths of the ocean where the pressure is very, very heavy. Now, if we look at that as a symbol for our emotions, right, and our lives, right, whale energy comes in when we're dealing with really traumatic situations, right? But we need to be able to get through them. So this is a very strong, emotionally supportive energy that can come into your life. This can represent a person who's coming in or that you know that is being emotionally supportive, or it can represent an energy that you're able to tap into, because right now, whale energy is what's needed, because something that you're dealing with is very, very heavy. Emotionally heavy, very deep, and so this is an energy that comes available to you to be able to handle it, right, Cancer? So let's get right into your spread. 4 to 6 3-card spreads I'm going to pull out, and we're just going to look at what you may or may not be dealing with this week. And again, just take what applies to you. And remember that my readings are not gender specific and they are not sexual orientation specific. We are only ever discussing masculine and feminine energies, which we all tap into in various degrees, right? All right, Cancer. Show me what's up for Cancer this next week. Of course, this is going to be for December 15th to the 21st. I want to get some clear forecasts on what Cancer may be dealing with this week. Show me. I do apologize for any traffic or background noise. I always say I live in a city, and that's it, you know. What can I say? All right, guys. Straight out, there's your 1111, 4 of Wands, the Tower, and the 6 of Wands. So some of you are absolutely coming into a period this week. You are interesting. There's a Tower moment coming for you, but you're coming into this week with a 4 of Wands. 4 of Wands, of course, is a new sort of relationship that is happening, very strong, very stable. 4 of Wands, of course, is the 1111 card that we often talk about, being the twin flame card. We call it 1111 because of the mirrored wands that are on the card, but really 4 of Wands is Venus and Aries energy. It's the beginning of new love and beauty, and it's stability, the stability of the number 4. And so in this way, it's a very strong connection that you're coming into this week with. Interestingly enough, though, you have a Tower moment. I almost wonder if this connection is your Tower moment. This could be a reconnection, or it could be a reaffirmation of true love. But perhaps up until now, maybe you had despaired. Maybe you had thought this was not going to happen. This feels very much like a Cancer out there that has been in love with someone, or has met someone, that although you feel so strongly for them, perhaps you were very pessimistic about this happening or this, you know, progressing forward. But this week you have a Tower moment, and it's almost as if everything that you had been pessimistic about is proven wrong, right? You thought perhaps, oh yeah, I love them, but this is never going to work out. Well, this week you find out perhaps that it will work out. And in a way, in this way, Tower moments can often happen like that also. A Tower moment is only when we realize that what we held true about life and people and ourselves, we find to be incorrect in some way, or we find that we don't have the whole story. A divine event generally will come in and crumbles that tower so that we sort of rebuild it with a new understanding, right? This new understanding that has come in from the event. And for for this one, Cancer, your new understanding, I believe, is that you should be optimistic, that this is true love, that this can happen, because you round the week off with a Six of Wands, and there's your victory. You know, it almost feels like a vindication, a victory. Some of you may have been in love with someone that perhaps everyone else was telling you this is never going to work, or there was some information that perhaps you didn't know, but this week it all becomes clear with this Tower moment, and you round the week off with your victory. Victory in love, I'm going to say. You get what you wanted. And I think for a lot of you Cancers, it's very unexpected. This is a very quick thing, you know, I believe for some of you. Like, you fall in love with this person, you meet this person, you fall in love, you think, it's never going to happen. Boom, it happens, and right away there's your victory. It's very quick, and I think for some of you it's very intense. Lizard energy may be at play a little bit. You may be picking up on a lot of messages or energies here, but this is going to be like almost like a runaway train. You know, it's like you go through these sets of emotions very, very quickly. All right, the Magician, Seven of Cups, and the Nine of Wands. So some of you are coming in this week feeling really, really good. You're on top of everything, right? Magician talks about having an enormous amount of talent and ability that you can tap into, right? You know your skills and you're using them to their greatest effect, right? This week, some of you Cancers are coming in this way. You're feeling like you're on top of your game, whether it be at work or at home. However, you met with a Seven of Cups, and somewhere along the line, there is a feeling of, because Seven of Cups is pie in the sky, it's a little bit delusional. So somewhere along the line, it could very well be, Cancer, that you've been having a certain dream or a certain wish, right? You've been sort of, this is also associated with daydreaming. There's been some kind of goal that you've been thinking about that perhaps was a little bit unrealistic. You may have been working towards that goal with this Magician energy, but this week I think it's almost like you take a step back. You've been working towards something that you realize, I think, is unrealistic because you're not at that stage yet, right? The thing that you're wishing for, you know, it is possible, but it's only possible after you do make some other changes in your life. And why? Because we round off the week with a Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands is a stage in your life where you begin to look back and realize how some of your experiences are impacting your behavior or the way you're going about achieving your goals, right? And so this is what I mean. I think you wake up this week to realizing that in order to achieve this dream that you have that may seem, and like I say, at this moment, may be a little bit unrealistic, but moving towards that requires you to do a little bit of forgiving and learning about yourself with this Nine of Wands. Looking back on some of the baggage that you've adopted and held on, because although you feel like you're very much on top of the world and in your wheelhouse with this Magician energy, you are only going to begin towards the end of this week. For some of you, realize that there are some things that you still need to deal with. Right? There's some baggage perhaps, or some trauma with this Whale energy that you may have dealt with that you need to sort of work on, right? Maybe exercise, because Nine of Wands is when we begin to see how we've alienated ourselves. We begin to see how we've made the impact to bring us to where we're at right now. Once we begin to see that, we very clearly move towards a Ten of Wands, which is a laying down of those burdens and baggage and hang-ups. But first you have to see them for what they are. And this is what I mean. You realize that one of the reasons this objective for you has been unattainable up until now is because you're only just now waking up to some of the baggage that you've been carrying around, that in a way you've been sort of self-sabotaging yourself in a way, right? You've been sabotaging yourself and your ability to achieve this goal. And that's what's making it delusional, right? You know, an example would be if you are, say for instance that there's a certain relationship that you want with someone, right? And you two are, this is a very crude example, But say, for instance, this relationship what you want with someone, you two are both in two completely different sort of financial brackets, let's say, right? But you've met this person and you want to get closer to them, and you have an idea of a relationship that you can have with them, but it's unrealistic because you can't even get close to each other. You know what I mean? You're not even in the same social circles. You may have run into this person a few times, but there doesn't seem to be any realistic way until perhaps you work on your life, right? It could be that you need to work on your career, your business, so that you can be more in their sort of area, right? Their financial status or their social status, right? And so in a way, the dream of this relationship is unrealistic until you face up to your own sort of obstacles, right? You know, that you have to overcome. Those obstacles you have to overcome to even be in a position to have a relationship with someone like that, right? And it could be vice versa as well. You know, it could be that somebody has an unrealistic idea of a relationship with you. You know, they may be great, you may have a good connection, but there's certain things that they have to work on themselves, because this just won't happen until they work on those areas, right? Again, it could be financial, or it could be emotional stability, right? You know, you may have the kind of job that unless somebody is very emotionally stable, they just can't be with you. They have, you know, because of the nature of the work that you do. You might be in the public eye, right? And so somebody may want to have a relationship with you, but until they are at a certain emotional state, you know, emotional level to be able to handle it, that relationship is unrealistic. Do you see what I mean? And so in this way is what I mean, that you're going to be looking at your own sort of like characteristics, obstacles, etc., that are kind of blocking you from this goal that you have. Lovers, wow, the Devil, and 9 of Cups. Interesting. So some of you, again, you have a connection with someone, right? And the connection requires work. You know, Lovers is all about two sort of opposites coming together, two contradictions coming together as a whole, right? And understanding that in order to have a true love connection, both people have to have the same intention, and they have to have the same understanding that, you know, each gives the other something that they need. However, you're met with this Devil energy, I'm going to say for some of you, there is some kind of perhaps codependency, or there is perhaps some kind of toxicity in this connection that needs to be worked on. More forgiving and learning that needs to be worked on, because this connection that you have is coming up against this sort of Devil energy. You know, this feeling of not being able to sort of work in a healthy way on this union. Devil is all about creative energy that's been stifled. When your creative energy, your ability to express yourself creatively has either been stifled or that avenue has been cut off, we tend to sort of descend into sort of addictions, codependency. We become a slave to instant gratification. And so this feeling, this draw, this lure to sort of that way of life is something that's impacting this love relationship. It could be that either or of the people in this connection are dealing with addictions. You may be in love with someone who's dealing with a certain kind of addiction, or you may have an understanding with that person. Perhaps you've been through your own addictions, right? And so in this way, it's interesting that although this feels like a codependent connection, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's that unhealthy, but it does feel like something that you both need to work on, because you come out with a 9 of Cups, which is blessings and understanding, but it is a 9, and 9s are indicative sort of a solitary path. It could be that for some of you this week, you just realize that although this connection is strong, it is a lover's connection, you realize perhaps that the two of you are just battling too much of the same addiction. It may be that you find out that you are better as friends almost than you are as lovers right now, right? Because you don't round off with a 10 of Cups, you round off with a 9 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups is more about understanding that you have relationships in your life that are blessings for you, right? That your life is generally blessed and that you're happy with. But it isn't a 10, which will be that union going forward. And so I think for a lot of you guys, this week is going to be a week where you realize that a certain connection you have with somebody, although it may be meant to be a soulmate connection because you guys are very sort of deep, close friends, it may not necessarily be a twin flame connection, right? Because not all soulmates are twin flames, right? Some soulmates are just very, very good friendships, you know, almost sister-brother relationship. This is what I mean to say, you ever be in a relationship with someone, and I'm sure some of my collective out there will relate to this. Have you ever gotten into a relationship with someone that, yes, it was romantic and you were in a love connection, but after a while you realized that you guys were just much better as friends, or that you actually feel much more sort of brother sisterly or sister sisterly, whatever the case may be, right? And and then years later, people were like, oh wow, you guys are such good friends, and you're like, yeah, we are. We've been friends for many years. Oh, we tried to be a couple, but we realized that we were much better friends. This is the feeling that I have here, because you guys definitely are helping each other with your various issues, right? But what it amounts to is a blessing, a relationship blessing, which is that kind of connection, a friend connection, the blessing of understanding the true nature of a relationship and not losing it simply because it didn't work out romantically, but keeping it and understanding what a blessing it is nonetheless to have this connection with this person. Last spread, 8 of Cups, Queen of Cups, and 9 of Swords. Some of you. 8 of Cups is a decision. It's a very actionary card. It talks about boundaries and borders and strength. And it's a decision that you make to leave sort of empty relationships behind. You decide to stop pouring your love into cups that simply won't return that level of love. And you understand now that it's time to enforce certain boundaries with people. Not to just let everyone into your life so they can sort of take your energy without any return. This is why we set up boundaries. And this is why boundaries help us to sort of maintain our strength. The major arcana 8 card is the strength card. So 8 and the lion is also associated with that. And so you're really showing a real nice sort of maturity here emotionally. And some of you, and this is one of those actionary cards that generally, when you make this move, it is such a positive step towards your own sort of progression in life, that oftentimes 8 of Cups, when this decision is made and enforced, the universe will very quickly reaffirm it. You meet with the Queen of Cups, and so it's interesting because you come across someone this week who wants to exchange their cup with you, right? And it's funny because this person comes towards you after you make this sort of, you come into the week with this energy, right? But you round off with a 9 of Swords, and I wonder if for some of you, the person who's coming towards you with this Queen of Cups, I wonder if you are maybe doubting whether or not you should accept this cup of love. Because 9 of Swords talks about having sleepless nights, anxiety, maybe a little bit of regret or guilt over something. And so it's interesting that now that you make this decision to move forward and to move away from toxic sort of empty relationships, this person comes in, but they're causing this connection with this Queen of Cups is causing you a little bit of anxiety and a little bit of regret. 8 of Cups is not an easy step to make, Cancer. And sometimes when we make this decision, we are tested, right? Oftentimes, whenever we make a decision towards our own progression, not only does the universe reaffirm for us whether or not we've made the right decision, but it oftentimes will test us. It will oftentimes test how strong is our resolve to this decision. And I believe that this is a phase. This is a testing phase. Someone comes into you and really like lays it on you, almost in a lot of ways, that people before have laid it on you, right? But this week you're feeling kind of conflicted with this 9 of Swords in the sense that you are feeling like, hang on a second, I'm being drawn towards this person. They're pushing all the right buttons that were being pushed before, but I made a decision to enforce my boundaries. Am I doing the right thing? And so you may be doubting yourself a little bit, because the nature of Queen of Cups is to be so open with their emotions. It feels very sort of intoxicating. Queen of Cups is generally a very emotionally healthy person, but I think what we're talking about here is just the way that somebody has come into you seems to be the way that others have come into you before. And for you, Cancer, it may be, like I said, very intoxicating. It may be something that that is naturally drawing you, because although you make this decision here with 8 of Cups, now comes the time to actually practice it. Right? And people are still going to push the buttons that they were able to push before, but now you're going to have to be sort of very intentional about enforcing that boundary, because you know how this is going to turn out. This Queen of Cups could very well turn out to be another empty cup. And you won't know that unless you enforce that boundary and stick to your guns here. And with this 9 of Swords, you're just a little bit worried. You're just a little worried that you're not doing the right thing. Am I really sort of, and I think you worry a little bit if you're going to be strong enough to keep this decision or to keep your resolve up. And don't worry, Cancer, because 9 of Swords is natural feelings. These are natural whenever we change our lives or we change the way we want to live our lives. It is natural for us to doubt our strength and our resolve in that way. It's natural to feel sometimes like, am I doing the right thing, or am I making the wrong decision here, right? But follow your heart. 8 of Cups is a very, very strong decision to make for yourself, and nobody said that would be easy. Turning your back on a behavior pattern that you've had for a long time, perhaps indulging people who really, didn't really deserve that much indulging. This is a behavior pattern. It takes a while to break out of that, whether you choose to, you've made this decision or not. Of course, it will take some time. So if you are having some sort of anxiety or worry, or you're doubting yourself, feel it and then let it go. Feel it and let it go. Sometimes the emotions that we have like that they come. And we have to just, in spite of these emotions, we have to be able to stick with our resolve sometimes, right? And say, what am I afraid of? Let me just try this new way, because what I've been doing before didn't work, All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that, Cancer. This is your reading, December 15th to the 21st. I hope it resonated. Please don't forget to let me know if you're interested in the Spirit Animal Oracle deck from Colette Baron Reed. Like I said, all you have to do is leave me a comment letting me know you're interested. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you're interested in a private reading, go ahead and follow that link at the top of your screen. Private readings are conducted like this via a live stream just between you and I, and we discuss your issue. Or you can ask for a tarot answer to a question, which is a 10-minute recorded video of your tarot reading answer to your question. All of that is in the link, and you can go to that if you like. But for right now, Cancer, have a wonderful 3rd week in December, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.